Okay, it is my pleasure to welcome on head coach of the women's basketball team, Coach Samantha Quigley Smith. Coach, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so happy to be here and happy to be back on the basketball court.
You guys finally started to get onto the practice court for the first time in a while. Can you just kind of walk me through like what the rules and regulations are right now? Like how much are you guys getting tested and everything? Can you just kind of elaborate on everything that's going on?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll start by saying it's ever changing. So every day, I think, in every week, there's new protocols and new things that come out. Especially, our county was going through some challenges, obviously, a couple weeks ago, where we were at a, not so great of a level in terms of the spread of COVID-19. So that definitely impacted us on our campus, as you probably know, being a student here, but also in athletics, just the ability to be able to start like we would have normally started in any other year. That was to be expected and something that we communicated with our team over the summer constantly. And with those Zoom calls, just being able to prepare them for what was going to be the new normal. So that's been obviously like a huge impact when it comes to kind of what's going on around us outside of Lewis and then how that impacts our own university. And, again, everything changes, I think, on a weekly basis in terms of what we are allowed to do and what is permissible. And we're kind of doing this in different phases and really trying to keep our student athletes as healthy as we possibly can. One thing that we have started as an athletic department was getting every single athlete and coach tested. And so we were able to do that with all of our women's basketball student athletes coming back negative, which was a really great thing and a really great sign. But still have the challenges of potential quarantine with symptoms if any of them arise with them, as well as if anyone would to have tested positive, obviously. So, obviously this is a constant, I think, and daily challenge when it comes to COVID-19. I think a lot of our administrators and even us coaches say, like, we are living day to day. We are living day to day, staying as positive as we can, and really, I think, optimistic about what could potentially be, especially if our student athletes continue to stay responsible and all of our students in general staying responsible and making sure that we're in a great social distance standpoint, following CDC guidelines and IDPH guidelines, as well as our COVID task force here at Lewis, who's been a huge, I think, guidance for our entire university in staying safe. And so some of the small things that we do on a day-to-day basis, just to give you an idea, is we wear masks in every single one of our workouts from a women's basketball standpoint. And so whether that's in the gym, whether that's outside at a workout, whether that's up in our weight room, we are constantly wearing masks. We are constantly socially distant, and we are also sanitizing 2 to 3 times in every workout. So in a 1-hour workout, which we just came off the court from and finished, our student athletes, and there was a group of 4 to 6 of them in there, we sanitized every 20 minutes. So I think that's something else, especially with a hands-on sport like basketball, same with volleyball, obviously exchanging basketballs and things like that. We're staying very, very safe from a health standpoint while also being able to play the sport we love. So I know that's a constant challenge, with making sure that we're staying healthy and safe as they exit the gym. There's obviously hand sanitizer everywhere, which has been a huge, huge thing for us in athletics, obviously with sweating and working out and all of that. So that was like the long story short.
How does your team kind of respond to all this? Do they kind of find it frustrating, or have they been abiding by everything and having a pretty good attitude about it?
They've been really great. And I think a lot of that had to do with our clear transparency when it came to the summertime, and the regulations and the things that we had to do this past April and May with the quarantine and the shutting down of a lot of our local areas and restaurants. I think just getting them to understand how serious this is. And at the end of the day, it's truly not about them. While we still want them to be able to do the thing that they love and all the things that they love, we're really trying to slow the spread and make sure that Lewis University is in a great place and is, responsible in terms of all this health adherence. So, they've been really great. And I think it's because they already knew in the back of their minds with these conversations we had over the summer, what was to be and what was going to be the new future for us. And this is something I think we talk about on a day-to-day basis, us coaching staff members to our student athletes. This is going to be like this for a while, so it's something we just truly have to get used to going to grocery stores, going to the cafeteria, going to class with our masks on, constantly sanitizing our hands. This is our new normal, so I think they're in a place where they're getting really comfortable with the new normal, which is a good thing, but also I think they have to understand that we still have to be really strict with our guidelines, whether we're in the dorms and we're not allowing someone that doesn't live with us into our apartment. That's really difficult to do, probably from a college student standpoint. So just encouraging them to be really responsible, and them knowing that if we're not responsible, that we can't do the things that we really love. And so I think painting that picture for them in the summer really helped, and getting them to understand this is going to be our new normal. So that's helped a ton.
I just wanted to ask you about a little bit about last season. So you were in the same boat with a lot of pretty much every college basketball coach, where you played through the entire season. You're building up for the tournament at the end of the season. You guys played conference, did well at conference, and then now it's like you're getting ready for the NCAA tournament. It's what you've worked all year for, and then boom, just like that, it's over. And I know you have like the health of everyone. It's important to make sure stopping the spread of the disease is the utmost priority. But since you put so much into this and you work so hard and you put your whole life into coaching this team, what was that kind of like, having just the season end abruptly right there? And what was your message to your team?
It was heartbreaking. Gosh, it's one of those things that happens that you're like, this is like a movie. This doesn't seem real, So I think it was the understanding that like this was something that was completely out of our control. Like even right now, to an extent, I think there's only so much we can do to make sure we're responsible, and while at the same time trying to participate in athletics. So at that moment, back in March when we were actually at our national tournament site, there were a lot of tears, so it was tough, I think, to keep them positive and keep them engaged, and then not to be able to return to school, obviously, because everything truly shut down that next Monday or whatever it was, and not being able to have postseason workouts and postseason meetings, so I think it took a toll on everybody, probably middle of the summer, when we truly, like, it came to the realization, like, okay, this is different. This is a different life now. This is a different environment. But just the constant communication that we were able to continue to have with them, with our weekly Zoom calls, even individual calls and text messages with our student athletes, I think that really helped a ton, just to help them understand that they have support, they have people that are here for them, and their parental support. I think anyone that was at home and spending that time with them, probably a new normal for them as well, with their student athlete now home a little bit more than normal, and their student home more than normal. So definitely heartbreaking, but it was a great group we had last year, and truly at the end of the year, we sort of played ourselves into the national tournament. So on selection Sunday, we were truly sitting there, the week before the tournament, and we were on pins and needles because we didn't know if we were getting into the national tournament. So that group truly accomplished, I think, something really special. So I tried to reiterate that to them, that this was our goal, to get to the national tournament. We went through some bumps in the road, obviously, throughout the season. And then when our name was called on that Sunday, it was really special. And so we did get that moment and that opportunity to have that, your name, Lewis University, come across the scroll. Like, that was really important. But yeah, it was tough. It was tough early on, but I think we've become comfortable with this new normal and getting ourselves in a safe place to be able to participate a little bit more.
So, Coach, obviously you've had a tremendous run here the last couple of years here at Lewis. Last year was no different. You guys were above 500, got really hot at the end of the year. What is your goal now, now that it's looking like the season is going to get underway a little bit later, but it will get underway at least in some capacity soon? What is your goal right now for your team, and what are your expectations as we move into 2021?
Well, I would say we probably have like a lot of small goals, especially because of the challenges that we face daily and weekly with COVID-19. Um, we have these small little goals that we hope will help us achieve our largest and biggest goals. So some of our small goals are, focusing on our day-to-day activity, making sure we're getting our temperature checks. All of our student athletes have a certain time that they can arrive here and get temperature checked by our training staff, and they all get a band to participate every single day. So that's one big challenge in these first 2 weeks, where if someone missed a temperature check, then they can't participate in workouts the next day. So, just little things like that, the small goals of each day and the small goals of each week are going to lead us to some of our bigger goals, such as being in the top 25 in our team GPA academic standpoint, being in the top 25 on the basketball court from a competitive standpoint. And all these little things that we're doing day to day are really going to help us achieve those goals, and at the same time, I think we are embracing every challenge that we have that comes, so it's these phase workouts that we're in right now. We're strictly in a non-contact phase currently today. So none of our players can touch each other or play defense on each other, or anything that would relate to contact in basketball. So there's a lot of shooting that's involved, a lot of ball handling that's involved, a lot of running that's involved. So really attacking each day and each workout as a small goal and challenge, to be better than we were the day before. And I think that's a really small vision to have, but I think it's a really good one to have, because it keeps you engaged and it keeps you excited for the next day, as opposed to kind of having a large vision and looking down 2 to 3 months. There's just so much uncertainty that we don't know what that's going to look like, so, but I will say, I think that, and I've told the team this, 3 months ago, did I think we would be where we're at right now? And I don't know that I thought that. I thought that we might not be participating in anything yet, or we might not have the capability to temperature check everyone or test our entire student athlete population. So even the testing capabilities that Lewis has been able to bring for our regular students and professors and faculty and staff. So to be where we are today, I think is a really, really great place.
Coach, you mentioned a little bit the goals you had in terms of academic goals. I know that academics are really important to you. How have your players been handling the online classes?
We're being, I think, a little more, I wouldn't say stringent, but we're being a little more conscious of this change in terms of learning and education and where it's obviously gone. And they got a little taste of it in the spring, obviously, with us going remote then, which was really good for them to be able to feel that and to see what that environment is like. And so I think a lot of the team has definitely gotten themselves organized, and they're in a good place from an academic standpoint. We have coaching staff meetings with our student athletes every week. Now they're on a FaceTime and they're not in person currently, due to the socially distancing that we're trying to do. So we have these FaceTimes with each student athlete, and we just talk them through, okay, which subject are we on right now? Who's the professor? What is due next? And just keeping them locked in, because when you're in online courses, I think some of these discussions can kind of creep up on you. You have all of your homework due on a certain day, a Sunday night or a Monday. So I think just keeping them on track with these individual meetings, as well as still doing study zone hours with the team on a weekly basis. Each player and each student athlete completes a certain amount of hours every week. And so they're still maintaining those and doing those hours while also having this different online environment, which is a little bit unique, obviously. But a lot of them that I've spoke with really like it. They like the hybrid format, being able to go to class, 2 or 3 days of the week, and then be online for the other 2 to 3 days. I think they're really enjoying, where we're at right now in terms of the academic side of things. So that's an encouraging thing as a coach, when they're enjoying school.
Coach, last thing I wanted to touch on was your older sister is in the WNBA. I find that very interesting, Allie Quigley. What have you learned from her from a basketball standpoint? And do you still communicate with her a lot, especially over the quarantine?
Wow. Yeah. Like every day. So Allie's been playing professionally now for, I think this is her 12th season. So just watching, I think, European basketball, she's been playing the last couple of years in Russia, but has been to a ton of different countries: Turkey, Poland, Slovenia, Italy. So she's had some great experiences over there, and it's a little bit different kind of game, I would say. Really, really physical. And so just being able to watch their games, kind of see some of the things that they're doing. And then in this quarantine, these 6 to 7 months of quarantine, she obviously came home from overseas as well, and they were in quarantine for quite a couple months too. And so to be able to see what they were doing from a workout standpoint and sharing that with our group, I think was really beneficial. So whether it was stationary ball handling outside with a hoodie on, and they were going through, ball handling drills or certain shooting drills that they would do, being able to share those things, I think with our team allowed them to see that you are not the only one. You are not the only one going through a difficult, challenging time. Here are some of the best women's basketball players in the world, and they're doing the same things you're doing. So I think that was really helped them open their eyes a little bit. And I would even say, like, just sharing with our team, some of the challenges that some other programs and teams are going through. Oregon had fires, and has been having fires these last couple weeks, and some of the student athletes had to come home. The students had to evacuate. Hurricanes that are occurring in Florida, and having some programs having to evacuate. So I think at the end of the day, we have to count our blessings, and we have to be very grateful for what we've been given here and the opportunity that we've been given, while continuing to stay super conscious and responsible and focus on our actions on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, Allie's been such a great, I think, resource for me, but also for our student athletes, just to see that type of role model in person, really go through some tough challenges too early in her career, and then build up to a place where she's really playing the best basketball of her life. So
You versus Allie in the backyard. Who wins right now?
right now, I'd probably struggle. 10 years ago, it might be a different story.
Years ago, you had her.
Maybe I was stronger, I was feistier.
Coach,
But
Coach,
but
that's all I have for you today. You go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, the backyard 1-on-1 and 2-on-2 games with our brothers. The women always won. I hate to just like throw it out there, but the 2-on-2, the girls always won. They
Really?
always won. Yep.
Respect. Very impressive. All right, Coach, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for coming on. Have a great day.
Yeah, thanks. You too.